this caught my eye. I'm surprised this hasn't blown up more than it has. I've seen like a couple rumblings about it. Somebody just put the text of this on Twitter, and then I had to look it up myself. And so Bill Burr does his podcast, the Monday Morning Podcast, and he had a moment that many lefties saw and got a little eyebrow raise out of it, like, oh, okay, Bill, we see you. So here, I'll play it for you. He's going after billionaires.
Dude, this is so, the amount of people that are struggling out there because of these fucking billionaires, and they got us all arguing liberal and conservative. We got to stop doing that. Like, I am so tired of hearing about people going to bed worried about what's going to happen next week. There is so much fucking money in this country, and there's so much work being done, you know. And if you work a full fucking week at a job, you should be able to pay your fucking rent. You shouldn't have to go out and get another fucking job and still be struggling. It's bad for the country, because then the kids don't see their parents and they're not getting the upbringing that they need. It's so fucking, these fucking billionaires, they need to be put down. You know, like fucking rabid dogs. They're like rabid with fucking greed and just going out and just dividing everybody. You know, just the fucking epitome of this time right now. Like how divisive we are, that like, you know, the Gulf of Mexico is now called the Gulf of America. And people get excited. Like, how the fuck does that help your wallet? It's an empty gesture. And then it's also like a racist gesture. Like, that's the white guy that's him saying fuck Mexicans without saying it. You know, like, who has a fucking problem with Mexicans? Like, what is the real problem? This is just such an ugly fucking time. Yeah, that just sucks. That sucks.
So, Crystal, in my experience, exactly what he's saying and how he's sounding, this is what I'm seeing with a whole bunch of liberals, with the majority of liberals. Stuff that you couldn't imagine like 5 years ago them saying.
Yeah.
Like, you got to put these billionaires down like rabid dogs.
Yeah, and they're like, yes.
Never would have thought, a liberal would have said that 8 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. Now I'm seeing Luigi posting from standard-ass resistance liberals. So something's happening.
Something's
happening where people are waking up.
The biggest difference from this, with regard to the Democratic Party, from this Trump administration and the first one, liberals really felt like, oh, Nancy Pelosi and like these Adam Schiff and these people, like they're our heroes, and Joe and Mika, blah, blah, blah.
And mainstream media.
Yeah. And this time they are disgusted. Like, they are utterly disgusted. And that is one thing that is different, and it's also hopeful. It creates a possibility. To talk about Bill here, I mean, he nails it. And the part of it, he's done, anti-billionaire sort of like class war type commentary before. So that part didn't surprise me. The part that surprised me more was his commentary about Gulf of America.
But that's also what I'm seeing from liberals and leftists now. Is like, everybody's like, it's a full court press on all issues.
Yeah.
We're no longer doing we'll meet them halfway on the social issue. Now it's like, fuck you and the horse you rode in on, bitch. Because the reality is, if Trump can get away with talking about Arnold Palmer's cock and filleting a microphone on stage and saying that immigrants are eating cats and dogs, which they're not, it's a lie, how come he can get away with all this fucking insane shit? But I'm supposed to not say trans people deserve rights?
Yeah, right.
Like, fuck off. No, that's not happening. I'm going to fight you on every single issue, and I'm going to win.
Well, and the Gulf of America thing, too, the way he frames it is precisely right. It's like, this is what he's giving you instead of, like, a living wage. This is what he's giving you while he's destroying your ability to organize at a union in a workplace. This is what he's giving you while he's destroying the anti-scam police over at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This is what he's giving you while he's allowing a bunch of, like, crypto billionaires to inflate a giant bubble and like scam people with this giant brazen Ponzi scheme. You get to call it Gulf of America, something that the American people don't even want.
Yeah,
they look at the polling, they're like, no, we don't want to do that. Actually, this is not even something you're giving us. Why are you even doing this? So he frames it in exactly the right way, that these sort of like cultural signifiers are being used to distract you from the fact that you're getting robbed blind. You're getting robbed blind by this billionaire class that has completely taken over the government.
And also, what happened to the pretending to be anti-war? Remember when Trump went after Liz Cheney and went after Kamala and called them warmongers and said she never met a war she didn't like and she just wants to shoot people? And then now, like literally within the first week, we get warmongering with Panama, Greenland, Denmark, Mexico, Iran. He bombed Somalia and bragged about it. Like, the way that just like on a dime, just flips and acts like, hey, this has always been my position. Bitch, you didn't say shit about Panama on the campaign. You didn't say shit about we're going to own Gaza. We're going to take over Gaza and build hotels and casinos on the beach and look at the lovely weather. You never said anything about that.
Right.
You never said anything about that.
And they're claiming a mandate for things that, number one, they never even like completely hit on the campaign trail.
Of course.
And then number two, like, what mandate? You won by 1.5 points. You did not even get a majority of the vote. Joe Biden won by 4.5 percentage points. You didn't act like that was a mandate. Your margin in the House is like the smallest ever. So, yeah, you won a very narrow contest. Stop acting like you have some grand mandate to do literally whatever you, and more accurately, whatever Elon wants to do. A bunch of anarcho-capitalist robber baron bullshit, which you certainly were not front-loading with on the campaign. You know, in fact, one of the things I've been thinking about is his whole strategy of going on all these like bro-y podcasts was to try to persuade people that he was like a normal guy and he's not extreme, and these liberals are like delusional and deranged when they're calling me a fascist. I'm just like cool, chill bro. So there was a concerted effort to make people feel like him and Project 2025 and whatever he was going to implement when he came in was not going to be extreme. It was not going to be a radical. And then the moment they get in, Elon's out there like, we're doing a revolution and goodbye to the Department of Education. And by the way, Social Security is a scam that I'd like to get rid of.
Yeah, and Bill Burr's point is like, wait a second. If you actually want to help people, the answers are obvious. Like, you got to give everybody access to a union. You got to raise the minimum wage. You got to give everybody health care. Nobody should have to work 2 jobs in order to barely pay the bills. Like, he's focused on the things that matter. And Bill Burr, of course, is friends with Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan has been taken for a ride by these billionaires. He has a new robber baron oligarch on his show seemingly every 2 weeks, where he lets them lie relentlessly. He let them lie about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, right? And then to your point, Trump never said on the campaign trail, I'm going to get rid of the anti-scam police, right? He never said that.
No.
And now here we are. The anti-scam police are totally dismantled. Joe Rogan's face was lied to relentlessly, and he helped them push their billionaire propaganda. He ended up endorsing Donald Trump. I get the sense that Bill Burr is like sort of disgusted by Joe, and that's his close friend. They came up in the comedy scene. I think they started like the exact same. They were close because they came up, I think, the exact same year, and they came up through Boston. Like, there's a lot of parallels there. He's one of the only people that when he goes on Rogan, if Rogan says some dumb shit, he's like, shut the fuck up. Like, I've seen it like on COVID, like during COVID, they were doing a podcast and Rogan tried to go on some, anti-vax rant or something. And he's like, oh, paging Dr. Rogan. Like, you know what the fuck you're talking about? Where's your degree, bitch? Shut the fuck up. You don't know about this. I don't know about this. We're not going to sit here and do bro science. And he's one of the few who will hold him in check.
I remember you did something similar with Bill Maher. I think over like wokeness. Bill Maher was trying to tee him up to be like, how about those like woke people? And he went
on Palestine. It was on Palestine.
On Palestine,
it was Israel
is that what
Palestine.
it was? Yeah, and then he
was
just
like,
went in the total opposite direction. The kids are with the terrorists. The kids are with Hamas. Okay,
and Bill was and Burr was like, I'm with the kids.
Yeah.
He's like, no, they're not saying they love Hamas. They're saying they want to defend Palestinians who are being bombed and killed.
Well, this also comes right on the heels of Rogan saying that thing about how like, oh, Elon's a billionaire, so of course he wouldn't steal from you. He has like, he has too much money because we all know the wealthiest people are, of course, the most honest, who we should definitely entrust with like, raiding the treasury and hacking into all of our government agencies.
To be fair, Rogan did say that exact same thing about George Soros. He was like, bro, George Soros doesn't want any more money and power. He's already got all the money in the world, bro. Why is everybody losing it about George Soros? The analogy I made is like, it's like looking at a heroin addict and saying, bro, he doesn't want any more heroin. He's already had heroin 20,000 times in his life. He's good, bro. What are you talking about?
Elon genuinely, and this will be a good transition into our guest, like he thinks he is the smartest person on the planet. He thinks he is the savior of mankind. He has cast himself in the role as the hero. And so whatever he needs to do in order to accomplish his goals, whatever they are, there is no death, destruction, like certainly he doesn't care about the laws. None of that will stand in his way of getting what he wants and effectuating the outcome that he thinks is the right outcome.
And let me just interject to point this out, and this is for the bros out there. Elon was caught red-handed lying in the most embarrassing fashion about being one of the best video game players in the world for a specific game. I think it was Diablo, correct me if I'm wrong. And he made all these grandiose claims that he was literally one of the best in the world. When he actually streamed himself playing, everybody who knows video games, everybody who's an expert or a pro at them, ripped it to shreds and was like, there's literally no way you're one of the best players in the world. You're actually really bad at the game, right? So Elon was lying relentlessly.
Yeah.
And then they eventually got him to basically admit, like, okay, yeah, I paid somebody to basically get my level high, right? So my point for the bros is if that guy was willing to lie about that, he's willing to lie about absolutely anything, guys. Anything. And you know who sees that? Bill Burr. You know who doesn't see that? Joe Rogan. And that's why you get based commentary from Bill Burr and billionaire ball coddling from Joe Rogan. Hey guys, today we talked to Judd Legum of MuskWatch. You definitely want to check out this interview. So it's him and his team that uncovered that the 19-year-old working for Elon Musk, his name is Edward Korestein. He goes by the name Big Balls. I'm not kidding about that. This guy was previously fired for disclosing secrets when he worked at a company, and now he has access to our top secret and classified information. And it was MuskWatch that uncovered that this guy ran a website where you could share illegal material, including pedophilia and many other things. I won't get into it now, but check out the full interview. Crystal and I talking to Judd Legum of MuskWatch. You can sign up below on Substack. You don't want to miss this. We'll see you there.